The mission of Campaign for Liberty is to promote and defend the great American principles of individual liberty, constitutional government, sound money, free markets, and a non-interventionist foreign policy by means of education, issue advocacy, and grassroots mobilization. I'd like to introduce our first speaker of the day. He was the 2012 GOP nominee for Senate representing the state of Maryland, and is a retired Secret Service officer. Let's welcome Dan Bongino.
We're in a really challenging, tough time right now. You know, I was talking in the back, and I want to give a more cosmic view of what's going on here outside of strictly the Second Amendment issue, because folks, this conversation we're going to have is really not about guns. You know, I know Governor O'Malley wants to make it about firearms, and he always uses the term guns, where they're really just tools. He uses that because he wants to scare people. You know, we all have to understand, everyone here listening, no matter what your political bent may be, libertarian, conservative, Democrat, liberal, I don't care. I don't subscribe to party labels. It's just the only way to get on the ballot. I've said that over and over. I've had more problems with Republicans than I have with some Democrats. This is an issue about people control. And it's an issue about people control because we are living right now in a supra-constitutional society. The Constitution has almost become meaningless to some on the left and to some on the right as well. Now, they'll pay it lip service once in a while. You'll hear it in a soundbite because they want to appeal, usually post-primary, to the sane wing of our society. But the reality is, that Constitution was a profound document. Think about what that did. We won the Revolutionary War. Thank God. That's why we're all here. As someone said to me once, that's why we're not all speaking British. It's a joke, obviously. But you get what I didn't say it, they said it. But it still was a good joke. We won. And then we start this document, this amazing document over arguments and shouts and screams that does what? That limits fallible men and women. All born. Is anyone here perfect? Was anyone here born without a mean streak, without anger, without passion, without rage? Anyone? Raise your hand. I'd love to. Certainly in me, I can tell you that. I bet if you heard me give some speeches, you probably know what I'm talking about. So we draw up this document that limits fallible men and women's power over you. Why? Why did they do that? They did it because they were subject to it. They were subject to evil men and women who had ruled over them almost mercilessly. Didn't allow them to worship their own God, didn't allow them to possess firearms or weapons to protect themselves. They did not want to live like that. The whole purpose of that Constitution, folks, was that your life was yours, government's life was government, and they would intersect only where there was agreement, mass agreement, on things like security, an army, a military, a court system. No one ever agreed to a soccer field in Guantanamo Bay as being so. We paid for this, folks. This government has grown so big that it is, the sphere of your personal liberty is a zero-sum game, folks. If your personal liberty is a pie, it can only be eaten by one person at a time. You can't have your liberty, your self-protection rights, your economic liberty, your tax dollars, your healthcare liberty, your education liberty, and the government have it at the same time. You can't. It is a zero-sum game, freedom. Folks, it's a real thing. It's not a soundbite. It's not liberty, a campaign sign. I know these guys understand this, but liberty is a real thing. It bleeds, folks. You can touch it and grab it. Every percentage point of your tax dollars you pay extra to the government is 1 percentage point more of your economic liberty you don't have. You can't spend your money and they spend it at the same time. Every single firearm that's eliminated and deemed illegal because it's an assault weapon. Folks, where are the non-assault weapons? Anyone? So we've created a category of tool firearm where there's no non-category. It's like calling a human human. Are there non-human humans? There's no such thing. They manipulate the language. Every one of those firearms they ban is something you can no longer possess. Keep in mind, this has nothing to do with the grain of the bullet, the performance of the weapon. It's done because they're really scary looking. Because Dianne Feinstein saw it in a Terminator movie once. Get Andrew Cuomo, in possibly one of the dumbest statements I have ever seen, gets on a microphone and screams, "You don't need 10 rounds to kill a deer," in that ever so slight hoity-toity accent of his. That is your liberty gone. That's real. This is a bigger argument than guns. Obamacare's the same thing. These boards of people, you think these boards of bureaucrats are out there to give you control over your health care? They're there for the same reason this gun control regulation is there, to take away your freedom. Folks, I'll leave you with this thought. This is your state. It's your home. I know the temptation sometimes is there to want to leave, to say, I'll fight somewhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg of you, I implore you, please don't do that. I moved here. I wasn't forced here. I moved from New York, which is even worse. I could have went to Virginia. I did. I've been here. My daughters were born here, both of them. I was married while I lived here. My first home is here. You know, I watched my daughter at a Girl Scouts thing the other day, and they were all on stage dancing, and I watched every one of those kids grow up. When they were down the street strolling to up on the stage dancing. This is my home. I'm not leaving. The fight is here. The fight is now. Maryland is ground zero for the battle for your personal liberty. And when we win it back, and we win here, folks, I promise you, it's going to be a punch they really feel nationwide. So thanks for your time. Don't cede any ground. Get back in the fight and hit back hard. Thanks for your time. Hope you have a good day.